means that even if you've got a busy job, even if you're working 80-hour weeks, you have to invest in your support network. Well, my brother was knocked down by a car and killed when I was 4, and I was there when it happened. And I grew up in a family that you can only imagine was experiencing just phenomenal trauma and grief. And as I say, I grew up in rural Ireland. We had no Brené Brown back then. We had no culture of therapy and talking about it. And when that happens to children, it doesn't have to be that extreme. We develop a compensating strategy. And for me, it was ambition at all costs. I wouldn't rest until I studied at Oxford. I was like a lead futurist for the British Foreign Office when I was 24. And this ultimately led to me just flooring the accelerator and burning out. And that has led to a health crisis that has turned into 5 years of living with a severe chronic pain condition. I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And for anyone who knows that is a condition with very little efficacy of treatment. 60% of people have a major depressive disorder. So I have to practice every single day what it actually means to be resilient for myself. And what I've discovered is that resilience isn't some tough bravado, stiff upper lip. It's actually allowing in the pain and grief that comes with any hardship. And the metaphor I often use, it's like the way they build buildings in Japan. They build them with flexible concrete to process the tremors that come from earthquakes. It's the idea that we bend rather than break when adversity strikes. But the deep one, the really deep one, is that when adversity strikes, you have to, on some level, see it as an invitation. It's an invitation to ultimately become the person you were always meant to be. You have to see it as a catalyst for growth so that you can actually look at where am I out of alignment, and how on some level is this adversity an invitation for me discovering my true calling, to use my suffering to be in service to others. That's what true resilience means. And for me, unfortunately, it means being a cautionary tale, but it also means I get to stand up there and speak from within in the experience of adversity and show people what it looks like to make it through when adversity inevitably comes for all of us. Well, beware of the endurance mindset. I'm going to push through, plow on, white knuckle it. I can do this on my own. That's the default response that we can do. We just have to kind of grin and bear it. And we also, when we're in that pressure, we feel the other pressure of maintaining an impression with our colleagues and our clients and our investors and our stakeholders and our boards that we've got it together. And actually, what we do then is we front it and we're ignoring the warning signs. And so the first thing is actually to get real with yourself and to put in place protective mechanisms. And what I would say the biggest protective mechanism is that when you're in prolonged pressure, you can lose perspective. It messes with your mental health. You can't think clearly. You can go into catastrophization, black and white thinking. You can lose confidence. And so you actually need to outsource your perspective to others who have that more balanced perspective. And ultimately, they love you and they encourage you. And that means that even if you've got a busy job, even if you're working 80-hour weeks, you have to invest in your support network. That means your partner, your family, your friends, your mentors, your coaches, having a therapist. And it's actually when we have that rich support network, they're the people who can actually catch us. And I love this expression from Bruce Daisley. Resilience is not an individual heroic effort. It's a strength that we draw from one another. So you have to invest in your support network. That is what the true high performers have, who can make it through prolonged pressure and adversity. Well, the best testimonial I ever got was come for the hair, stay for the ideas. So there may be something there. And I'm sure the Irish accent helps. I think my background actually, outside of the corporate world, is in performance arts and comedy. So just everything I deliver just has to be hilarious, because that is ultimately the way to open people to the ideas and the intellectual insights. You have to get people to laugh at themselves. And when you get that just hilarious vibe in the room, people love it. And then once there's that opening, that's when you really just meet them with the depth. We are starved of deep emotional cathartic experiences. And as I said, it's actually quite rare to have a keynote speaker who's still in the midst of adversity. Many people have climbed Everest, who have won a gold at Olympics. But that's it. That was then, this is now. Look, I've made it through. But I think there's a particular lucidity that comes when you're speaking from a place of suffering. And really, in every keynote that I give, I really try to speak from the heart about what it's like to be me now in this. Because many people are in that, a version of that themselves now. They're in either the difficulty of work or they're in their own adversity. And I think having someone that can speak to them directly and is willing to be vulnerable, like real vulnerability, where you're really putting yourself in the line, I think that that's special. And I think that that's the reason why the biggest clients in the world are reaching out to me, because I feel on some level they know that there's healing in that and their people need that experience.